If you're on Facebook ads and you're looking for a way to find the best performing ad headlines in a structured testing process, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly the style of headlines and the framework to actually follow to come up with your headlines, and then the actual step-by-step process of running fast, effective sprint testing on Facebook in order to figure out of all the headlines that you come up with, what is the actual headlines you should be running to the audience that you're looking to target. Okay, before we get into the step-by-step of how to actually prove your offer running some Facebook tests, what you're going to want to do is come up with a variety of different ad headline types. Because what you're going to find is once you run these different styles of headlines, you're going to find one category that actually works better than the rest. And so for the fitness industry, we've run a variety of these different headline tests, and we found that these offer style headlines work the best in comparison to all these other types of headlines. And so we stick to this primarily when we're running our ad headline tests because we know it works. Okay. And so as an example here, we have the 15-day tone and sculpt program for $15. A different variation of this style of offer could be a 14-day core restore program for $14. Okay. So you get the idea there. So you're going to want to come up with a variety of these different headline types, come up with 3 to 5 different variations of each of these, and then you're going to want to test them against each other. And what you're going to find is one different angle or type is going to be your best performer. And you're going to want to then dive deep into that category and start to come up with a variety of different options within that. Okay. So for the sake of this, I'm not going to go into details of each of these. This gives you a general idea. Most of these are specific to the fitness industry, but you can apply them to whatever industry that you're in. Okay, so once you have a few headline styles, you have a bunch of different variations of those, what you're going to want to think about is which buyer motivation are you appealing to, okay? Is it the avoidance of pain, fear, and loss in your headline? And so in that case, it could be, if you don't get your health in order in the next 10 to 15 years, you're not going to be around for your kids when they get married. You're not going to be able to walk your daughter down the aisle. You're not going to be able to walk your son down the aisle. And so that's basically what you want to look at, because yes, we need to know the different styles of headlines we're running, but we also need to know what is the motivation we're appealing to, because at that point, you're going to start to see patterns where, okay, this style of headline's working really well, and this is the buyer motivation that I'm appealing to as well. And then you can narrow in even further on appealing to those motivations further. Okay. And so keep in mind that different prospects within your audience are going to appeal to different buyer motivations. And so while some people might be motivated by the avoidance of pain, fear, and loss, some might be, motivated by love and affection. And so by getting in shape, they are going to get more, intimacy with their partners. Okay. So keep that in mind, because this is going to be really important for optimizing further on and coming up with more headlines into the future. Okay, so at this point, you should have a variety of different headline styles, and you should know the buyer motivation. And so as an example here, we ran some tests for our company Untap Revenue, where we were testing all these different styles, and we figured out that the offer and the promise style headlines were the best performers. Not only that, we also figured out that the profit and gain buyer motivation was the best performer out of all the different buyer motivations. And so that's what we were testing here in this test in particular. And so what you're going to want to do is have a sheet of all your different headlines. You're going to want to know which headline fits for which style, and you're also going to want to know which buyer motivation that you're going after, so that you can start to look at your data after you do this test to figure out which style and which motivation is the most appealing to the audience you're looking to go after. Now, for the ad testing side of things, what we're going to be setting up is a sprint test. Okay, and so I'm going to walk through exactly how we set that up. So we're going to do we just go through and create a brand new ad here. So we'll go here. We're going to do a traffic campaign, manual traffic campaign here. And so this will just be our top of funnel headline testing. Okay, we're going to keep everything the exact same in here. Now for targeting, obviously you're going to want to make sure you obviously know how to set up a targeting campaign here. So I'm not going to do that in this step here. I'm just going to show you that we're going to go after website to send traffic to the website. We're going to scroll down here. Our objective should be maximum number of link clicks. I'm going to skip the setup of the targeting, but obviously when you're setting up your campaigns, just make sure you are being specific with who you're trying to target. And then when we build out the ads, all we're going to be doing for these ads is we're going to do headline number 1. Okay, we're going to scroll down here, turn off multi-advertiser ads, and we're going to put no primary text, and our headline is just going to be the service that we're providing. And so for the sake of keeping things congruent, for gym owners, this would be fitness center. So something like this. Okay. If depending on what obviously you're offering, you're going to want this generic as possible. Okay. This is just simply filler. What we're really looking at doing in this test is figuring out if that headline is going to get people to click. And so when we're setting this up, we're going to be creating these sprint test style Canva ads. And so I'm going to head over to Canva and show you what these look like. Okay, so I jumped into Canva. Generally speaking, it doesn't have to be designed this exact same way, but having two colors, this is called the color block test. This gets people to stop and click. It is a pattern disrupt. It works very well. And so we like to do styles like this. The colors don't really matter too much. Just make sure that they're different colors, or you can use a unique background. Okay, it doesn't have to be two different colors. It could be like a crinkled piece of paper as the background. So as an example, okay, so here's an example. It could be like a weird looking background like this. And all we're looking to do is have a pattern disrupt. Okay, and so just make sure that within your test, the background that you have is exactly the same. What I'm looking at doing here is taking all the headlines you came up with and replacing this text in here with those headlines. Now, for this particular style of test, you want to make sure it's only maximum 3 lines, your headline. You do not want to have 4 lines with your headline. So just keep that in mind. And you also want to make sure that your text size is no less than around 32. Once you get down to, below this, this is even still too small. So we generally want to keep it around 49, no less than that, I would say. Okay. And so within this test, I'll just quickly show you what it looked like for this client. Okay. So you can see here, we had 12 of these different styles running. And so all we're looking at here is keeping everything the exact same. So everything is the exact same except the image with the unique headline. Okay. And all we're going to do is we're going to run all of these ads and we're going to shut them off after 400 impressions. Okay. And so how we're going to do this is we're actually going to select on all of the ads. We're going to click rules, create a new rule. And all we're going to do is set it up to turn off ads after 1100 impressions. Turn off ads. Okay. So we're going to apply it to 12 ads. We're going to turn off the ads when the impressions is greater than 1100. Okay, and we're going to click create. In this example, I'm not going to, but once that's done, now you have your test set up and ready to go. And so in this next phase, you're going to turn on all of the ads. They're going to run and they're going to slowly turn off after they reach roughly 400 impressions. Okay, so you can see here in this test, most of these got up to about 400 impressions before they were turned off. In some cases, I will go in here and manually turn them off myself to preserve capital because I know they're not going to be the winning headline in this example or in this test. And so what we're looking at doing to define a winning headline in this test is we're looking at the unique click-through rate. Okay, so if you don't know where to find that, in most accounts, you're going to have performance and clicks, and it's going to show you click-through rate. And so to find unique click-through rate, you're going to click on this column. You're going to go customize column, and then you're going to type in CTR, and we're going to look for unique CTR. We're going to click on that, which is going to now apply it to this list here. I'm going to click apply. And if I scroll to the right, you will now see unique click-through rate. And so what we're looking at is finding the highest click-through rate. Okay. And so if you have some that are close, like these top 2 are pretty similar. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to assume these are our winning headlines. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to head back to that Excel sheet and I'm going to highlight the winners and I'm going to put down what their click-through rate is so that I know moving forward what the winning headlines were. I'll also know what the style was and I'll know the motivation of the buyer so that I can use that moving forward when I run more tests. Okay, so at this point, how do we now take this proven headline and actually see if it's going to be profitable for our ads? And so what you're going to do with this headline is you're going to take it and you're going to run it for your lead ad objectives. Okay. And so in this example here, we ran this, we figured out that the winning offer in this case here was the 8-week tone and sculpt program. And so if I head into this client's ad account now, you can see that the ad that's running right now is the 8-week tone and sculpt program. It is consistently running because it was the winner. And once we started running a lead ad objective, okay, so if I go into this campaign, You can see here that we are running a lead ad objective with a lead form. It is now producing solid results, which means that the test we took, the test results when we took it and ran it as a lead ad, it actually provided the results that we were looking for, meaning it was a successful and now proven headline. Okay, so that's the process in figuring out the best headline styles to run, how to figure out what buyer motivations are the most attractive for your audience, and how to actually run a testing process to figure out the best performing ad headline for your advertisements.